Have you ever felt like your own mind was quietly working against you? Not enough to call it an enemy, but never steady enough to trust it like a friend. You lie down at night, exhausted, longing for silence, yet your thoughts keep replaying scenes you wish you could forget. Arguments you already resolved, mistakes you made years ago, words you said in the wrong tone, things you didn't say at all. You tell yourself, it's over, it's done. But your brain keeps rewinding the tape, and during the day, instead of focusing on what matters, your thoughts drift into worst-case scenarios before you even realize it. You try to enjoy a moment, a cup of coffee, a conversation, a walk outside, but your mind takes one harmless thought and multiplies it into 20 imaginary fears, each louder and heavier. It feels like you're running mental marathons you never signed up for. Overthinking is not just thinking too much. It feels like being locked inside a room in your own head, a room filled with reflections of the same fear stretching into different shapes. The unsettling part? Most people don't even know they're stuck there. They think it's normal. They think it's just their personality. They think it's who they are. But what if that's wrong? What if overthinking isn't who you are, but simply a loop your brain accidentally falls into? A glitch in the system. A survival mechanism from thousands of years ago that was meant to protect you, yet today it traps you instead. And what if neuroscientists have discovered something, a tiny switch inside your mind, that can interrupt that loop within seconds? Not after months of meditation, not after years of therapy, not with complicated routines. A switch you already carry inside your brain right now. Imagine waking up one day and feeling mental clarity instead of noise. Imagine making a decision without doubting yourself 10 times. Imagine feeling a peaceful silence, a silence that doesn't feel empty, but calm, the kind you hear when standing near a quiet ocean. Imagine having a mind that works for you instead of against you. This is not fantasy, this is neuroscience, and today you're going to learn how overthinking truly works, and the simple technique that can shut it down. Your brain isn't broken, it's overwhelmed, and the same machinery that created the problem has the power to solve it. But before we go into the science, I want to take you into a moment you'll probably recognize, a moment nearly everyone experiences, but almost no one talks about. It's late at night. Your room is dark. The only glow comes from your phone screen. You're tired, but your mind is wide awake. You try to sleep, but your brain whispers questions you can't turn off. What if it goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people think I'm a disappointment? You scroll to distract yourself, but the more you scroll, the worse you feel. You compare yourself, you feel behind, you feel trapped inside your own head. You tell yourself, stop thinking about it. But your brain doesn't listen. Because the brain cannot delete a thought just because you tell it to. There is something in psychology called the ironic rebound effect. The more you try not to think about something, the more your brain thinks about it. Your intention is strong, but your biology is stronger. But biology can be retrained. If you've ever felt stuck, anxious, indecisive, or mentally exhausted, you're not weak. You're human. Your brain is running an outdated survival program that once kept our ancestors alive. Thousands of years ago, humans needed constant alertness to threats, in the bushes, in the dark, in the environment around them. Today, that same system misfires. Instead of detecting danger outside, it scans your thoughts, your memories, your future, your imagination. Your brain becomes a guard dog with nothing to guard, so it barks at shadows. That's why overthinking feels so heavy. Your brain is trying to protect you from imagined pain, but in doing so, it creates even more. This is why the method you'll learn soon works so quickly. It doesn't fight the brain, it doesn't argue with your thoughts, it doesn't tell you to be positive. It goes deeper. It hijacks the same circuit that overthinking uses, and shuts the entire loop down from the inside. But before we go there, let's walk deeper into the mind and understand how overthinking traps you. Inside your mind is a place you rarely speak of. A place you visit in silence. It's like a hallway you walk through every time someone doesn't text back, every time you replay a conversation, every time your heart beats faster for no visible reason. I call it the haunted house of overthinking. You don't enter it willingly, you just find yourself inside. You don't remember turning the doorknob, yet suddenly you're there. In this house, small thoughts echo like footsteps. Shadows form from fears that haven't happened yet. A single worry becomes 1,000 whispers. You feel the walls closing in, not physically but emotionally, and the strangest part, you blame yourself for being there, as if you chose it. People tell you, just stop overthinking. As if the haunted house has a switch you can flip. As if telling a burning fire to stop burning would put it out. But neuroscience shows something surprising. Your brain doesn't overthink because you re-weak. It overthinks because it is programmed to keep you safe. The part of your brain responsible for this is the amygdala, the alarm center. It constantly asks, what could go wrong? It doesn't care about your happiness. Its only job is survival. But when the amygdala becomes too strong and the logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, becomes quiet, you lose balance. Your mind stops analyzing reality and starts imagining danger. That imbalance is what we call overthinking. But here's the truth. This imbalance is reversible. Overthinking is not a lifetime sentence. It's a temporary mode your brain switches into, and the switch can go both ways. And this is where the neuroscience trick comes in. It's something called cognitive load reversal. But let's forget the terminology. The real secret is simple. Your brain cannot hold a complex worry and a demanding mental task at the same time. If you give your brain something challenging right now, something small but mentally precise, it forces the prefrontal cortex to take over. And when the prefrontal cortex activates, the amygdala automatically shuts down. The fear loop breaks instantly. This is not theory. This is how athletes manage stress, how soldiers regain focus, how therapists interrupt panic. It works because you're redirecting the mind instead of fighting it. For example, name 5 objects around you that are made of metal. Count backwards from 100 in steps of 3. Take any word you're thinking of, like future, and spell it backward. Look around the room and name 3 things that are blue. Describe a sound you hear without naming its source. These tiny tasks activate the rational part of your brain, and the moment that happens, your fear loses voltage. Your thoughts slow down, your breathing becomes steady. Your brain returns to the present instead of wandering into imaginary disasters. This trick doesn't just stop overthinking in the moment. When you repeat it over time, your brain rewires itself. The neural pathways responsible for overthinking become weaker. The pathways responsible for clarity strengthen. This is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change itself. Imagine 2 paths in a forest. One is the path you've walked for years. It's clear, familiar, easy to enter. That's overthinking. The second path is harder to see because you haven't used it much. That's clarity. Every time you redirect your thoughts, you walk the second path. Every time you do it again, it becomes clearer, softer, easier to find, and eventually, it becomes your new default. A practical example. You get a text that says, "We need to talk." Instantly, your stomach drops. Your imagination explodes with horrible possibilities. But before the spiral takes control, you interrupt. Name 3 things that are heavier than your phone. Now spell your name backward. Now look around and name a color you can see, but cannot touch. Suddenly your breathing loosens. The fear quiets. You return to reality. This is not magic, it's biology. And when you do this consistently, your entire emotional landscape changes. You become less reactive. You stop assuming danger. You begin responding instead of spiraling. You feel more at home in your own mind. Because the truth is, overthinking steals more than peace. It steals time. It steals joy. It steals confidence. It steals sleep. But once you learn how to interrupt the loop, you don't just get those things back. You gain something even more powerful. Trust in yourself. You trust your decisions. You trust your emotions. You trust your ability to handle life. You trust your inner voice more than the noise around you. And the haunted house? It becomes just a memory, a place you once wandered into but now know how to walk out of. Not by force, not by shutting your brain down, but by turning on the light. That is the power you're learning today, the power to guide your own mind. Thank you for taking this journey into the science of your mind. Overthinking doesn't have to rule you. With the neuroscience trick you just learned, you can reclaim focus, peace, and clarity. If you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another brain-changing insight. Share this with anyone who needs a mental reset, and remember, your mind is powerful. When guided, it becomes unstoppable.